allegedly impregnated the 10-year-old girl who had put to bed on Sunday. The girl was delivered of the baby girl on cesarean section. Baby mother and baby girl are said to be doing fine, but Turner Taga, he allegedly slept with the girl twice in December, adding that she consented to, and therefore Turner denies that he actually had raped the girl. The Commissioner of Police, Mukada Garba, says that the girl is an orphan and was living with her uncle in the internally displaced persons camp. Her uncle was, in fact, trying to arrange her to get married to an elderly blind man when he discovered that she was pregnant. The uncle is currently at large. In another development, another pregnant girl was taken to Aba where she delivered of a child. The man who took her from Otukpo to Aba has been arrested because they cannot find the child. Two other men from Vandikia were also arrested. They were having AK-47 with 10 rounds of ammunition, and another two were also arrested for illegal arms manufacturing.
The spate of crime.
No, yeah, it's worrisome. Sexual crimes.
Sexual abuse and harassment and intimidation and rape and all of that. Even children. That is unbecoming.
What it calls for is speedy dispensation of justice in these matters. Just yesterday, when the issue of the 10-year-old girl came up, you recall, we said that it was the duty of the police to track whoever was responsible for that. So it's happy news that the police authorities have arrested the 18-year-old who did this. Now, there are some points to also note. A 10-year-old is a minor, and a 10-year-old cannot consent.
Exactly.
Cannot consent, to the relations that brought about all of this. A 10-year-old cannot consent. So it's a clear case of either defilement or rape. Absolutely. Now, but another very worrisome thing is a 10-year-old is a minor, and the identity of that 10-year-old ought to be protected.
And she's an orphan.
She's an orphan.
Living with an uncle.
Listening to Bayo now, go over the story again, he didn't mention the name of the 10-year-old. But there were some reports online mentioning the 10-year-old's name. That's not the proper thing to do. It's unethical. It's a minor. You don't consider the identity of the minor.
Yes. What you see on social media is not journalism. It's jungle journalism, otherwise called citizen journalism.
Unfortunately, yeah. But the spate of... You recall there was also the other girl who was murdered the other time. It was several months ago. It was also from Benue. Now, what is the status of the trial of whoever was arrested in connection with those offenses?
Yes. And these stories are all coming from Benue State. I hope the state government does something about it. State and local governments should do something about it. But this seems to happen within the territorial listing of Benue State.
That's right. Okay. Could you see how about that story?
Yeah, no, just to go to editorial.
Okay, we'll take our editorial this morning. And the title is Sports Needs Policy Template under New Minister. Part of the editorial is the next sports minister should be somebody with relevant background, good enough to make the numerous talents in Nigeria excel. We frown at the fact that there is no sports policy in the country for whoever is coming in to work with. There is a sports policy, by the way.
Yes.
Can I quickly draw attention to this human interest story? Drivers on a highway stopped to pick dollars that were flying on the highway. So immediately about 15 cars stopped and everybody was picking dollars. And apparently the dollars were being conveyed in an armored car and the door opened and the currency started flying off. The policeman came and told them that, well, you are picking currency, but whether you like it or not, it is theft. So it happened on Tuesday. By Wednesday, many of the persons who picked these free flying dollars started returning them. The police warned them that, well, you picked it, but whether you like it or not, it is theft. If you don't return it, we'll get at you.
Well, that's interesting.
Liking it to people who scoop petrol. Kingsley remarked the other day that it is theft.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It doesn't belong to you. I mean, it's theft. But
when you take somebody else's
but you didn't tell us where
consent.
You didn't tell us where this happened.
It happened in Georgia, in the United States.
Yes. Yeah. If it were elsewhere, they would have gone to below the church very quickly.
If it were Nigeria, forget it. You are not good. Nobody returns anything.
No, I don't know.
I mean,
just only last month. An airman returned 37,000 euro
We have asked one man.
There are several others.
Yeah, there could be, but...
There are several others. Please.
There are several instances of honesty
Yes.
amongst,
No doubt about that. You know, we're talking about the preponderance. You know, it's not as if people don't do it. But, you know, when it comes to the real...
Well, if you see dollars flying...
In Nigeria.
If you see dollars flying in the air, it's a manner from it.
Well, the editorial is talking about sports, and what he's saying that it's regrettable that you have a health personnel heading Ministry of Health. We've never had many of our several Olympians or sports personalities become Minister of Sports.
Yes.
And they are saying that, they claim that there's no sports policy, and Kingsley has rightly corrected that there is sports policy. Perhaps the sports policy needs to be reviewed.
But was there any sports person who was nominated as a minister in the first place?
That is the crux of the editorial. They are lamenting that there was no such.
Yeah, Baya Toyebe would like to thank you for being around. We hope you will enjoy your weekend. You also enjoy your Sallah celebration.
Thank you very much.
So happy Id-El-Kabir in advance.
In advance. Thank you very much.
Barakah Sallah.
In advance. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, it's Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll get ahead with our items for discussion.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt, and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Oh, thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Good Morning Nigeria. And to kickstart our first conversation this morning, here is a report on security for the Sallah celebration as put together by our correspondent Lydia Sampson.
As a journalist, I have seen firsthand the impact of insecurity, having served in Maiduguri, the epicenter of Boko Haram. Trust me when I say the state of being secured, or should I say freedom from danger, is priceless. The necessity to protect and keep all Nigerians free from all forms of danger perhaps informed the resolve by the Nigerian police to collaborate with other security agencies to ensure safety at all Eid grounds and other venues of celebrations during the Id-El-Kabir.
Celebrations like this, some undesirable elements, some hoodlums, and some misguided persons might want to take advantage of the mood of the nation to embark on all kinds of crime. We want to tell them in very clear terms that the Nigerian police force, working in concert with other security agencies and with the good people of this country, have got the capacity and the reach to bring criminals to book wherever they are.
The police is also deploying additional personnel, crime prevention and detection equipment to cover identified and perceived criminal flashpoints. Similarly, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is deploying personnel to man critical infrastructure across the country, with the Commandant General charging his lieutenants across the country to work in synergy with sister agencies, be civil and diplomatic in dealings with the public. Security agency says intense surveillance and intelligence gathering will be maintained and are seeking public support and cooperation in their areas.
Now, let's also take another report on the Federal Road Safety Corps preparedness for the festival by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
Sights such as these are quite expected during festivities, as people tend to travel to different parts of the country to celebrate with their loved ones. Though many a times reports of accident tends to be part of the story, with some drivers, especially the commercial ones, usually in a hurry to make many journeys with much gain. This they achieve with overspeeding and utmost recklessness on the roads. This time around, in line with the zero tolerance on road crashes agenda of the Federal Road Safety Corps, overspeeding is one of the road offenses the Corps is not taking lightly.
Even the deputy corps marshal, the corps marshal himself will be on the road to show the seriousness of the exercise and to equally motivate the people that are already on the road. Once they see the corps marshal, they see the deputy corps marshals, all of them on the road, they know that it's a serious business.
With awareness campaigns around the country, over 200 mobile courts have been set up to try road offenders with the use of mobile phones while driving, drivers without licenses, lane indiscipline, drivers with expired and worn-out tires, amongst others.
I think the major challenge is the traffic on the road. That's the most challenge we have during this festive period.
The Corps will be making use of gadgets and equipment with 736 patrol vehicles, 120 ambulances, as well as 35,000 personnel during the 24 hours patrol, which commences on Friday 9th August to Wednesday the 14th.
We have another report, this time from Maiduguri, and our network correspondent there is Maimuna Garba.
Preparations for the Sallah festival are on top gear as residents of Maiduguri troop to markets, notably the popular Maiduguri Monday Market and Gamboru Market for perishable items, ram and new clothes for the Eid celebration. Prices of essential commodities required during the celebrations like tomatoes, onions and cooking oil among others remained stable.
Some are saying that when the Sallah day is behind or closer, we are putting the prices high. It's not like that because it is the season. This is the season of it.
We are trying our best to see and tackle the price. We will not let him go high.
It is affordable, so it's not that high. It's not that much cost like that. It's cheaper.
This one, I bought it at 400 naira, so it's very, very, very cheap. It's compared for the other days.
Various satellite ram markets have sprung up across the metropolis as Muslim faithful rush to purchase the sacrificial ram preparatory to the celebration. The city is calm and peaceful as residents go about their legitimate activities and preparations ahead of the Sallah festival.
Big thanks there to all our correspondents, who sent in the reports that we've used as background as to our discussion this morning. We have guests with us here in the Abuja studios as well as at our Ibadan Network Center. First, let's welcome Bala Chiroma. Bala Chiroma is Commissioner of Police in charge of the FCT Command. Commissioner of Police, pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Good morning, viewers.
Okay. Also here with us in the studios, we'd like to welcome Gora Wobin. He is FRSC Sector Commander in charge of the Federal Capital Territory. Pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good morning, viewers.
And joining us from our Ibadan Network Center, we have Shino Olukolu. He is Commissioner of Police in charge of Oyo State. CP Olukolu, pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning.
You can actually hear us, and let's ask him the very first question. But before that, Shino Olukolu, I hope I got that correctly, because Femi Johnson, our man in Ibadan, was so meticulous about how this name should be pronounced. I hope we got it correctly, Honorable Commissioner. All right, a short while ago, we read a news item that was explaining an elaborate security arrangement planned by the Nigerian police force for the entire southwest of Nigeria. But for the purpose of this program, let's narrow it to the Sallah celebration that we're about to have in the country. Now, let us know the kind of security arrangements that you have put in place in Oyo State for the safety of property and lives during the Sallah celebration.
The Nigerian Police Force in Oyo State, the Oyo State Police Command, is ready. We have already dot our I's and cross our T's. Our operational orders are there. The patrol teams are there. Aside from that, we have both vehicular and foot patrol. We have what we call the tactical operational points. We have the men in Mufti who are out there. Part of the special forces, the Special General Police, has already held the command with some personnel, assisted by the AIG Zone 11. The men are out there 24/7. We are, however, heightening and rejigging what we are doing to ensure that the Sallah celebrations was peaceful. The entire citizens of Oyo State, assisted by the state government, we have been trying to ensure that no criminal activities takes place during the Sallah celebrations. The officers are out there, and our telephone numbers, emergency telephone numbers, have been given to the citizens anytime, any day, 24/7, because they don't sleep. Once that is received, operational men are deployed. Aside from those on the field, we also have those who are in the office as backup for emergency situations. In addition to this, we are also working in concert with other sister security agencies to ensure that the entire citizens of Oyo State and the entire area is covered. In addition to that, we are also doing what we call cordon and search. This is to ensure that all the criminals around the bushes, around the forest, are flushed out and disallow them from carrying out their nefarious activities. In addition to this, we have what we call a synergy with the other quasi-security agencies, like the vigilante groups, the hunters, the traditional rulers, and the community members. That is in the spirit of community policing, because we work together in Oyo State. And that has accounted for the relative peace we have here. In addition to that, you have the situation where people are relocating to Oyo State and will begin to have new sites on a daily basis. That is an indication of the relative peace that is existing in Oyo State. I want to assure the entire citizenry of Oyo State that the Sallah celebrations, we have rejigged our security system, and we assure them that they will celebrate in peace and tranquility.
Well, CP Shino Lokolo, earlier you talked about some emergency numbers. What are those numbers?
To call those numbers, the emergency control room numbers for Oyo State are 0705 5495 413, 0705 5495 413. The other one is 0808 1768 614, 0808 1768 614. Anytime this number is called, there are personnel to attend to such emergency calls, and immediately the security architecture is activated. Men on field who are closest to the area where the distress call comes from will react, and then we have men at the state headquarters who are on standby who will also go ahead to assist those who are already on the roll, on the call. Thank you.
CP Olokolo, let me ask you this question, because over time we've had other law enforcement agencies that have been on Good Morning Nigeria. There is a number, 112. That's a 3-digit number. That's the National Emergency Call Center. And I think also 122 for the Federal Road Safety Corps. What is the link between these numbers I've just indicated, 122 and 112, to the Oyo Police Command? Because the numbers you just read out now, unfortunately, we didn't have them on the screen as generated by our graphics people. But what is the link? If I'm in Oyo State and an emergency arises, I dial 112, can I get help from you?
The one I just read out belongs to the Oyo State Police Command emergency room control, the control room emergency number. The 112, we have interconnectivity. Once they have issues, they also activate us, they inform us, and we also take appropriate action.
All right, Kiran, yes.
Let's return to Abuja here. Let's
right.
return to Abuja here and talk to CP Bala Chirima, the Commissioner of Police, FCT Command. There are flashpoints in Abuja here noted for criminal activities. And now that we're talking about Id-El-Kabir celebration, there is every indication that those flashpoints will be the normal target of criminals. What are the plans on ground to checkmate this?
Well, indeed there are flashpoints, and we are quite aware of the existence of these flashpoints, so we've made adequate arrangements to ensure that no untoward incidents occur in these points. We're doing this by improved visibility. We're deploying patrol vehicles to these flashpoints. We'll be having both covert and overt operations. People in uniform, that is the patrol vehicles, will also have people in mufti that will be acting as undercover agents there. These patrol vehicles, you see, are kind of mini police stations whereby if there's any incident that occurs, either to you or to another person, you could quickly rush to them and they'll come to the aid of the persons concerned.
What, ahead of the Sallah celebrations, what is the crime temperature, if I may put it that way, in the FCT?
The crime temperature, as you say, has been stable within the FCT. And we intend to intensify activities to ensure that we record a crime-free or hitch-free Sallah celebration within the FCT. As I said, we are improving our visibility, intensifying visibility. There will be improved patrols, both vehicular and foot patrols within the FCT. We've already embarked on carrying out raids of black spots, as mentioned. These are flashpoints, and it's been proved to be very successful. We've arrested quite a number of hoodlums and kept them behind bars. There is synergy between us and other sister agencies, and we are working together both in patrols and in terms of these raids. We also have adequate coverage of places we know people will gather, especially praying grounds, churches. We've already commenced this by ensuring proper coverage of markets.
As a CP, there are suburbs of Abuja. We talk about Nyanya, Maraba, Masaka, Idu, Karimo, and all of that. This is where we have the larger population of inhabitants of the FCT. These are, of course, crime-prone areas as well because of the population of the people who are there. Is there any special arrangement? Because that is where more of the action, will be, not necessarily at the city center.
And definitely, that is what I'm trying to say. Because of the festivity, we already have adequate security arrangements in such places, but because of tendency of issues during festivities, we've intensified our efforts. I said there will be improved visibility patrols within such areas. We've already commenced embarking on raids. We're in touch with residents of these areas. We've already kind of community policing, and it's really bearing fruits because people are beginning to liaise with us, and we are able to ensure that we maintain stability crime-wise within these localities.
What are the black spots, for instance, in the FCT?
Well, you take about, say, Beggar roundabout, area 1 roundabout, the area around the National Hospital. As you will notice, there are improved police presence in these places, and that is why we've had little or no complaints from these areas of recent.
All right, thank you very much, CP Chiroma. We'll come back to you shortly. Now, let's bring in the sector commander for the FCT. We're not talking about the Federal Road Safety Corps. Yeah. Of course, there have been reports as to thousands of personnel being deployed along major highways. But give us a sense of what motorists should expect, in the course of the holiday season, which actually begins today.
Well, as a matter of fact, deployments have been done. And of course, having done the deployment, we expect the motorists to be conscious of what they do on the roads. We also expect that they should be more careful. Before you embark on any trip at all, you must make sure your vehicle is sound. You must have checked this vehicle so that you avoid a situation of breakdown on your way. The tires must be genuine tires that are good, because these are things that brings about you are moving and you have a tire blowout, which is not supposed to be. Then, of course, we also expect that speed, you must obey the speed limit of this country. Whichever road you are using, if it is an express, in a smaller car, you are not expected to go beyond 100 kilometers per hour. If it is a highway where you face me, I face you, you must not go beyond 80 kilometers per hour. These are controllable speeds should there be any eventualities. And what we will do more is more of traffic control, where we do good road lining to avoid a situation where people be jumping from one lane to the other and try to also face oncoming traffic. These are things that bring hold up in so many environments on our roads. So we believe that if they're able to obey these simple traffic rules and regulations, I'm very sure it's going to be very free. We'll have free movement of motorists.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's return to Ibadan very briefly to ask Shino Olukolu one more question before he leaves us. We understand that he's going to leave very shortly. CP Shino, there is a higher vehicular movement across the nation, and Oyo State will not be an exception. And we've heard about kidnap cases in the southwest of Nigeria, just like in other part of the country, along the highways. Do you have any special arrangement whereby those traveling in and outside Oyo State could be adequately, protected within this period?
Of course we do. We are conscious of the fact that people will move around and there is going to be heavy traffic on the roads. For instance, on the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, we have men deployed at tactical areas with a distance to ensure that people who are moving on that road are safe and secured. We also have the one that links up with Osun State. We have the road that links up with Ogun State, that is along Ijebu-Ode-Ibadan Road. All these roads are well policed, and the men there are under strict instruction and orders to ensure that nothing untoward happens around them. They are to beam their searchlight on any suspicious movement, suspicious persons, suspicious parcels and packages to ensure that people that access that road while they are going home or coming in are safe and secured. We know people want to return to their ancestral homes to ensure that they celebrate with their family members, and that is part of our responsibility to ensure that they do that in a secured and safe environment.
All right, on that note, we'd like to thank you, Commissioner of Police Shino Olukolu, in charge of the Oyo State Police Command. Thank you for being with us in Good Morning Nigeria today. All right, let's return to our Abuja studios. Kyrian, I just wanted to ask the FCT Sector Commander.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure, what is the approach to deployment? I'm asking this question because earlier you were talking about motorists learning to be cautious and then to be obedient, to traffic regulations and traffic control. It turns out that sometimes on the highway, particularly at the bottleneck points where you have a traffic gridlock, you hardly will find the road safety corps officials there. Why is that so? And if you just move a kilometer or less, you will find the officials who are stopping vehicles and asking them for their particulars. But where you have that particular gridlock, they won't be available.
Well, sir, let me say this. On issue of dreadlocks, FRAC personnel, especially during festivities, we know the particular areas that we experience dreadlocks. And we deploy our men with special marshals to also complement the effort of the regular marshals on traffic control. Like I said, we are going to do more on traffic control, not on enforcement. Enforcement will only be on critical offenses. And these critical offenses are maybe somebody is driving and is using the phone, somebody is taking one way, or somebody tried to drive dangerously, and of course, people who are overloading. This will not turn our eyes on them. We'll get them arrested. Now, like you said, sir, if it is not during festive period, it is possible to have a situation like that. One may not be a ghost to know there's a problem in so place unless I am informed. But if the information is given to us, and that is why it is always good, the 122 emergency number is a free toll line for the FRAC.
Sorry, I'm not cutting you short, but what Kingsley asked should not necessarily be during festive periods, talking about under normal circumstances. Right, and these are points that are already been noted to be such, especially in some maybe rush hour or at the close of work and all of that. So it's like a habitual thing in those spots he was talking about. But you don't find your men there. We don't find your men there. But you move a little bit further, you see them standing, you know, on the road. You talk about critical offenses.
Yes.
I mean, when you say critical offenses, I would like you to expatiate on that, because there are several road offenses that perhaps ordinary man could term as critical, you know, not just using phone and all of that. People are known in this country as dangerous drivers. Even in the city of Abuja, now talk of the expressway, there is this blatant, non-adherence to the regulations on the highways. That is established. If you do highways, I understand what I'm talking about. I do highways, so I understand what I'm talking about. So please let us know the special plan by FRSC this time around. That we'll have Monday, Tuesday, a public holiday, and of course movements have started this weekend.
Well, like I said earlier on, sir, definitely we've done our deployments. And the deployments that have been done, majorly, through traffic control. And most of these movements, like in the FCT, for example, we have 4 exit and 4 entry points. But we know that people moving out of the FCT will be more in number. So, like the Gogolada axis, for example, where we have the Wazobia Park, that place, immediately after the bridge, when you are going towards Lokoja axis, that place used to be a serious bottleneck environment. I do personally go there to be, to take charge. They also have the Zuba axis. Those going towards the north, that place also always a bottleneck area. The Nyanya axis is also a bottleneck area. They also have the Duse Alaji, those who have the fear of going towards through Zuba to the north. They would rather prefer to go through the Buhari end, through the Duse Alaji end. So these are the 4 entry and exit points in the FCT. Now, all these points, I can assure you, during occasions of this nature, we have massive deployments along these locations. But outside, outside the festivities, certainly, at times, if there are bottlenecks or there are hold-ups that are experienced, and our attention is drawn to it, maybe our men are not sighted within that environment, and our attention is drawn through 122, or to those who know my direct official line or personal line that do call once in a while, I normally send patrol teams to go and make sure that that traffic holdup is decongested.
Well, thank you. I just wondered, Kirian, we hear thousands of road safety corps officials have been deployed, and they're hardworking and diligent officers amongst you, no question about that. But those who use Nigerian roads often will complain about the attitude of some of your colleagues, and some of us have also experienced them. Now, where you notice a bottleneck and a kilometer or less away, you'll find your officers, mounting a checkpoint, and you draw their attention to what you just went through for them to help clear, because you're not going back into that traffic jam, and it's as if, Oga, make you go. Why is that so? Why? Listen, I'll give you 2 examples. Ajay Bandele on the Ijebu-Ode or Expressway was under reconstruction during the Easter period. I was stuck on that spot for several hours. Several hours. Just last week, between Uguoba and Oka, just a kilometer, about 2 kilometers to Oka, no movement for more than 2 hours. And your men at Oka were informed. They said, look, there's some crisis that people are resorting to self-help. And it was as if, I'm making they go. Why is that so?
Well, I think maybe attitude could attribute to that, but I can assure you that the FRC I belong, the commercial will never take that from anybody. He will never. And that is the more reason why, despite the fact that you inform them, just also try to make effort to call 122. Perhaps once you call the 122 and you give us the exact location of where that thing is, the nearest command to that particular issue will be called upon, and they know the call is coming from the call center, so they will not joke with it. Yeah. Because they will know that they are being monitored. So since they are being monitored, they'll be serious about it. But I want to believe whoever does that is not a serious-minded road safety person.
Okay, thank you. I think you've made a very good point. In trying to answer Kinsley's question, that this 122 line could be used to report such people, because you cannot vouch for all your staff, right? You have given them the training, but adhering to the training it depends on individuals. Now, let's return to Bala Chirima once more. Commissioner Bala, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway has become notorious, with kidnapping and other nefarious activities. But of course, we know that the police has also recorded successes, along that route. And now that we are entering a festive period, is there any special plan for that route, which of course is notorious? I wouldn't know exactly why the kidnappers chose that place. Maybe the terrain is encouraging them to do that.
Well, within the space of road Kaduna-Abuja within the FCT isn't that notorious for kidnapping. However, the other segment, maybe going towards Kaduna, is noted for that. However, the Inspector General of Police has made adequate arrangements to take care of that situation. We have this operation he brought about, Operation Puff Adder, sparing fruits. A lot of arrests have been made. And I'm sure during this period of festivity, policing activity within that particular highway is being intensified. More personnel, more equipments are being deployed. I will seize this opportunity to assure travelers that their safety is guaranteed on this particular highway within this period.
In an emergency in the FCT, what are the contact numbers?
We have the call center number, which is 122. If you get across to the call center, they get across to us. But we also have our direct phone lines, which is linked to our control room. It's there displayed on the screen. The control room number comes directly. There is no kind of intervention, and therefore you have direct access to the police. Now, immediately we receive a call, we deploy the nearest patrol team to that particular location to take care of the distress that might have been reported. And this has proven to be quite effective. And that is why we believe in being proactive in our policing activities within the FCT. You will see improved visibility. You will talk about raids of black spots. You talk about both patrols, foot patrols, both covert and overt. That accounts for the relative stability within the FCT.
Okay, Commissioner of Police, thank you very much. We would like to take some of the tweets that we have received now from our viewers. Danladin Daebo has this tweet. As we celebrate this year's Id-El-Kabir, motorists must remember that only the living celebrate. We all should avoid overspeeding and use of mobile phones while driving. It's only when we abide by these basic rules that we can minimize accidents. on our roads.
Okay, Law Alpha C, in a very charged atmosphere in Nigeria, the security agencies will have to be on red alert during the celebrations in order not to transmit to a sorrowful situation, and Muslims should be security conscious while celebrating.
Now, Titus Monday knock. The security agencies should be up and doing during the Sallah celebrations, and the friendly crossfire between them should be avoided as much as possible. The synergy between the operations should be carefully coordinated. Wishing all Muslim Ummah happy Sallah celebrations.
All right, from Chris Simeon, Muslims shouldn't see Id-El-Kabir as a period of celebration only, but should pray fervently to God to have mercy upon us by fixing this country.
Now, Daily Jack Solomon has this with, as preparations are on for the Salah celebrations, adequate security measures must be put in place to respond to potential security threats during this time. Also, the police should not allow some violent individuals or groups to engage in activities that would affect the unity of the country.
Muhammadu Mozamil, we urge the police and the FRSC to intensify efforts in curbing criminals, especially one chance, because transportation and movements would increase this season, and these criminals are cab owners.
Now, Awuruji Joshua says, take the campaign to the passengers and 50% of crash problems will be solved. Develop apps, let them monitor speed limits and other irregularities, and be able to report directly via the app to the FRSC. Most drivers are illiterate, and we should never allow them to toy with our lives.
All right, Stephen Wells. The Nigerian police should try to make the emergency numbers short and usable. Christopher, at this point, let's Wobin Gora talk to us about how prepared their men are, because you're going to be operating across the nation. And of course, I'm sure you have all your commands have deployed men and women who are going to man routes across the country. And there's an expectation that there could be accidents, along the line because of a higher vehicular movement across the nation this period. Do you have the right basic equipment to assist accident victims this period?
Yeah. The FRSC, we have ambulances. We call them the zebras. These are for rescue purposes, should there be any crash, which we don't actually pray for. And they are strategically located. Like in the FCT, for example, we have about 10 of them. One at Abaji, Girin, Yangoje, Zuba. Then when you wheel towards the AYA axis, we have one at Guarimpa. Then when you wheel towards the Nyanya axis, we have at Kubo and we have at Goshen. And then you come within the city center, we have one at the Secretariat. We also have one at the Area 10. Then we have one at the city gate. Then we also have one just by, we recently relocated that one from the Idu railway axis to the federal housing along the Lube axis. So about 10 of them are strategically located, and they are 24/7. At any point in time, apart from those ones, even in the commands, we also have rescue teams in the commands, 24/7. If there's any crash at any point in time, we are informed.
Across the nation?
Across the nation. We also have ambulance services all over. We have in Gegu, that's taking Lokoja as a sample too. We have one at Gegu. We also have one, we have about 2 in Lokoja. We also have, just a little bit after Gegu, we also have one there, that's a Kotokarfe, So most of the crash-prone environments in the Federation, we have our ambulances. And we also have outpost commands that are also saddled with that responsibility of rescue. And they are also strategically located.
Are there medical personnel attached to the ambulances?
Yes, all the ambulances have medical personnel attached to them.
Okay. Earlier you were talking about obedience to speed limits.
Yes.
In the beginning, the road safety corps had radar guns.
Yes.
So how do you monitor an overspeeding vehicle now?
Now, sir, well, of recent, or some years ago, we insisted that all commercial vehicles for now must install speed limiting devices, which quite a number of them have complied. Some have not yet complied, and we are also making sure that such vehicles are arrested and booked accordingly to ensure that they install the speed limiting device. Now, the radar guns we used to have to monitor speed we still have some that we are using. In most of the areas that is adjudged to be speed prone. So we still use them. And also, it will also interest Nigerians to also know that we also have breathalyzers for people who take enhanced drugs or alcohol. These are also there with the patrol teams that we are also using. So I believe with even the tow trucks we have at also strategic locations, if there's any broken down truck or vehicle along the way, that can easily be cleared. Yes.
What is your modus? Will it be part of your schedule, for instance, to visit motor parks where these vehicles take off and, along with police officers, take care of those persons who are either hawking or outrightly dispensing baraga and other substances?
Yeah, we've done a lot on that aspect as far as the FRSC is concerned. You see, most of these baraga, shakabula, shakabambam, I can assure you that even the officials of the NURTW return NATO don't allow them in the parks now. They don't allow them in the parks now. But of course, at the background, which they may not be able to know that these guys are going there to take some of these things. And that's the more reason why at times, some of them, like the private transporters, they do call us to bring our breathalyzers to test their drivers before they take off from the parks. So we go around both fleet operators parks and the general motor parks to carry out some of these tests.
But CP Chiruba, do you also raid these parks to find out those, according to the names? I only knew of Baraga, but it's also listed Shakabambam and
Shakabula.
Shakabula.
Yes.
And do you also get to...
Yes, we work in concert with the synergy between both agencies, and we work in concert together. We assist them in these raids and bringing sanity to motor parks. Apart from them, there are other criminals that interest the police in the parks, and therefore the essence, there's very important essence in our working together.
Well, gentlemen, there's little we can do when it comes to taking off the baraga and what have you. The personal thing is available, and anybody who needs it gets it. You can only do your job and leave the rest.
Yes, there's need for concerted efforts to reduce the rate.
All right.
What is the difference between Shakabambam and Shakabula?
They play the same role. They just give them different names. Yes, they play the same name. You see, like the baraga you were talking about, some of them you see them as if they are harps. They are not harps.
Roots, what they call roots.
Yeah, roots. Yes. And by the time somebody tells you, mix it, what it means by mixing is to put hot drinks inside.
Okay.
So when they argue the person, he takes it and he becomes somebody.
Yes. Very good. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for being part of this segment of our discussion this morning on Good Morning Nigeria. Commissioner of Police Bala Chiroma, we thank you for coming.
You're welcome, thank you.
Good. And of course, Wobin Gora, FRSC Sector Commander, FCT. It's been a pleasure talking to you this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right. Of course, we have a second leg this morning, and that will be on the issue of hosting on the 20 Women's World Cup in Nigeria. Of course, FIFA sent in an inspection team, which I'm sure has concluded its assignment in Nigeria. So hopefully, we may be hosting the tournament. That's where we go next. Stay with us.
Won't kill you. Move now.
To dey disobey traffic law, they cause accidents. Me, I don't talk, say I no go dey do am again, because change begins with me.
Cross the other side of the road.
I will no longer endanger my life crossing the express. Instead, I will use the bridge, because change begins with me.
Oga driver, stop this bus now, won't come down. I be one carry me past where they go.
Make I dey stop anyhow for road, they cause traffic wahala and accidents. So I go dey stop for the right bus stop, because change begins with me.
Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, welcome back, and Good Morning Nigeria still on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're live here in our Abuja's studios, and as my colleague Kiran indicated, we are getting ahead now with our second item for discussion, which is on FIFA's inspection of facilities for the hosting of the Under-20 Women's World Cup coming up next year. Our correspondent Oyemi Ajayi has the background now.
10 years after hosting its last global football event, Nigeria is getting another chance as FIFA continues the process of awarding the hosting rights for the 2020 Under-20 Women's World Cup to the country. The visit of the FIFA inspection team to Nigeria this week to inspect facilities for the country's hosting rights bid is putting the nation in line to become the first African country ever to host the tournament. The FIFA delegation from the headquarters of World Football Governing Body in Zurich arrived in Nigeria Monday for a 4-day inspection of facilities and equipment that Nigeria has put forward to host the 10th FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup Championship next year. The locations of the facilities and equipment for the hosting of the 16-nation finals were 4 cities: Lagos, Benin, Asaba and Uyo.
This tournament comes in 2020. I can assure you we will produce at least 2 more up-to-date international standard facilities and everything complete. Of one, at least a sports stadium, and the second one, a full-fledged sports center.
At the 4 states, the assignment of the inspection team is visits to match venues, referral hospitals, training sites, and amongst other facilities. The inspection team rounded up their visit to Nigeria in Abuja on Thursday, having meeting with the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development, Olushade Olushola, and a courtesy visit to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa.
Not just doing it, but we're also trying to push the narrative about Nigeria being a very safe country, being hospitable, being indeed the biggest economy in Africa. And you know, once this bid is granted, FIFA is going to invest millions upon millions of dollars. We want to leave this trophy and hand over to the president as a gift to the president for supporting us. So we're going to throw everything into the ring by God's grace and ensuring that we achieve that fate.
With no African nation ever privileged to have hosted a FIFA-organized women's football tournament, a streak Nigeria will be aiming to break by staging the 10th edition next year. What are the findings of the inspection team? Will this be a mission possible after the inspection exercises? And of what import is it for Nigeria to host this FIFA Mondial? These and some other questions are what guests seated in the studio are set to provide answers to as Nigeria prepares to host the FIFA Women Under-20 World Cup 2020.
All right, and with us in the studio, let's welcome Mike Enahoro. Mike Enahoro is a sports analyst, and Mike, we are glad that you could join us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
And of course, in our Lagos studio, we have Menasara Ilo, FIFA consultant. Welcome to the program, Menasara.
Thank you very much, Kiran.
Thank you very much, Menasara Ilo. We also have with you there in the studio Sheyi Akinwumi, who is first Vice President, Nigeria Football Federation. Mr. Akinwumi, pleasure to have you both in our Lagos studios. Benin Network Center, we have been joined by Godwin Dudu Orome, who is chair of the Edo Sports Commission or Council. I'm not quite sure now. Dudu Orome, pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning.
Much.
Kira, let's begin this conversation with our guests in Lagos. In Lagos, let's begin this conversation with our guests in Lagos. Sheyi Akinwumi, who is Vice President of NFF, and Menasara Ilo, FIFA consultant. They all, of course, involved in trying to ensure that Nigeria gets to host the FIFA Under-20 Women's Tournament in 2020. Beginning first with Seyi Akewumi, what is the status of Nigeria's preparation after the FIFA's team inspection?
Well, we're very happy with what we have done over the past few days in particular. We were able to go around the various sites, training sites and stadia across 4 states. And the feedback we get from them is that they're quite happy with what they saw. We visited hospitals, stadia, training sites, and they were quite happy, gave various suggestions. At the end of it, we were very happy with the enthusiasm shown by the various states and state governments in particular to develop and meet the standards required of FIFA. So we're quite happy with the stage so far. When we came back yesterday, we had a roundup meeting, and we also had a teleconference with Zurich. They seem quite happy. Discussions are ongoing, suggestions. They'll do a wrap-up, get back to us, and we'll take it from there. But at this stage, we're quite happy and comfortable with where we are.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Minasara, give us an idea of the stadia inspected by the FIFA team and the exact status of these stadia. Because when we talk about facilities, of course, you know better than I do what the sporting facilities should be and the standard that are already attained by Nigeria in terms of the kind of facilities that we have. And now the 4 states inspected, may we know them and know the status of the stadia and other facilities that may be required during that tournament.
Thank you very much, Kieran. First of all, let me also say I'm the bid coordinator for Nigeria on this project. Now, the process of bidding has several steps. The first step is to indicate interest at the level of the federation at the FIFA forum. And then the second stage is, of course, to make a bid. Now, Nigeria has gone through those 2 stages, and a competent bid was prepared, about over 900 pages long. And that bid was assessed by the bidding and strategy section of FIFA. And it was because Nigeria scaled that hurdle that FIFA felt it was auspicious for them to come and see on the ground what was put on paper. Now, this inspection visit has taken us to 36 different facilities, including 6 stadia, 13 training sites, 12 hotels, 6 hospitals, and so on. And the facilities, to start with, let me be talking in line with your question. The states involved are Lagos, Edo, Delta, and Akwa Ibom. And the cities in particular being Lagos, Benin City, Asaba, and Uyo. Now, in Lagos, we inspected the Onikon Stadium. I believe many people have little idea what Onikon Stadium looks like now. Not the Onikon Stadium of old. It has been remodeled, it has been refashioned, and it is a world-class facility right now. We also visited the Teslim Balogun Stadium, which was one of the host stadia for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in 2009. We visited the Agege Stadium and visited several training sites. Now, one thing to understand is that in these days, you do not host an event and start to bring about what you want to achieve. You first of all decide what the legacy objectives will be and such other objectives that are pertinent to the development of your football and your country. And then you bid for an event that will fit into such legacy aspirations. So you will find that a lot of the training sites that are being proposed are located within educational institutions and such other locations that are very visible and useful to the communities. So in Lagos, we also inspected 2 medical facilities, the St. Nicholas Hospital and the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH. In Benin, we inspected the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, which has also been remodeled, and we visited training sites that are located at the Western Boys High School and the Edo Boys High School and the University of Benin. We also visited the new Edo Specialist Hospital and the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. In Asaba, we visited the Stephen Keshi Stadium, which is a very new stadium and very functional and well modeled to accommodate the requirements of the game today, including the new VAR facilities. And we visited training sites at the squash courts in Asaba, as well as those located in schools and secondary institutions, including the St. Patrick's College, where we intend to use 2 training pitches. In Uyo, we visited the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, perhaps one of the most functional stadiums or stadia in Africa, and it has a ready training site. We also visited facilities in Ikot Epene, including the brand new hotel 4-star by Sheraton in Ikot Epene, as well as their township stadium. We visited one, in my lifetime, perhaps one of the best medical facilities I have seen or inspected on behalf of any organization. The Uyo, it is called the UBOM, Specialist Hospital, that is not too far away from the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. So in all, we visited about 36 facilities. And of course, there is a little room for sentiment and wishes and so on, but professional teams do professional jobs. So they looked at all the requirements. For example, in any stadium, we need to see and inspect from spaces to facilities about 152 things. Similarly, in medical facilities, we look for about 7 or 8 critical areas: the accident and emergency, the availability of diagnostic facilities like the magnetic resonance imaging and the CT scan, the availability of maxillofacial services, the availability of theaters and ICU, the availability of laboratories and such other facilities, and even relocatable and mobile facilities like the advanced cardiac life support ambulances and so on. So there are very, very specific requirements in each case. Each training set that has been identified is not just the plain surface. We also require changing room facilities. We require floodlights that have to reach a certain brightness between 800 and 1,500 lux, and such other requirements. But I think what is more interesting, perhaps, or what you are interested in, is whether the facilities we have visited have really qualified or have reached the standard where FIFA needs them to be. Now, this is just the first inspection, and we have the basic facilities, we have the capacity, and I believe that FIFA will confirm that we also have the willingness and the political will and the resources to accomplish the upgrading of all the facilities well ahead of the tournament.
Well, thank you very much, Menasara, for a very elaborate rundown of the facilities that the FIFA team came to inspect in Nigeria. You ticked those states as one of the states that you visited, and happily for us, Godwin Dudu Orume is our guest in Benin. We earlier introduced him. Tell us something, Dudu Orume, between now and when the tournament is expected to kick off, or rather when the FIFA will give its final nod, how prepared is Edo State, for instance, to be part of this hosting arrangement if Nigeria gets it?
Well, as you're well aware, Edo State is the host for the next National Sports Festival in 2020. We signed a memorandum with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and since then, Mr. Governor and the Deputy Governor have ensured that all hands are on deck to ensure that we deliver a sports festival unknown to this part of the world before. And so the FIFA visit is only a spice to what we're doing. Long before now, the Godwin Obaseki government had made sports a pillar of its administration and commenced the rebuild, the remodeling of the Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium to top quality. I'm sure witnesses will tell you that what they saw was quite amazing. And then, of course, we had plans, and we have already commenced arrangements to build training facilities, mini stadia in all 18 local governments, most of them domiciled in schools to help the development of sports in Edo State, because the ultimate desire of the government is to make Edo State destination one for sports and sports tourism. So, straight to the point, we are more than ready for hosting of any I say, sports event, football especially, and anything that requires the use of modern sports facilities. And in Edo State, we have quite a huge complement of the support facilities, quality hotels, teaching hospitals, the UBTH, and then, of course, the Edo Specialist Hospital, which is ultra-modern. And then, of course, the road network within Benin and into and going out of Benin presents a special interest to it, makes life quite easy. And then I can assure you on behalf of this government and people of Edo State that come time for FIFA competition in 2020, we're ready, because facilities will be delivered by the constructing firm by the end of October. And we do have test run opportunities. The Edo State Sports Festival is also coming up. In all of this, we'll be able to test the capacity of our facilities to cater for athletes, welfare of officials and all. And as a matter of fact, we're expecting 15,000 athletes and officials for the 2020 Sports Festival. So we are ready and good to go. And also to put on display the very special nature of the people of Edo State, hospitality, the culture, and the thrill that constitutes the heartbeat of the nation, Edo State.
All right, Dudu, we will return to you much later for further analysis from Edo and your preparedness to host this tournament. And now back to Abuja. Let me bring in Mike Enahoro, who is a sports analyst. So you've listened to other girls, make comments on this inspection by FIFA and, of course, the hopeful hosting of that tournament. Put that into context.
It's an administrative function that needs to happen in a bidding process. You've submitted documents on paper. If I listen to my big brother, Menasser Ailo, over 900 pages about Nigeria and the potential of why we are better than anybody else to host a tournament. I think one of the things that I find in these things is, yes, state governors are involved, and the NFF has done its homework by reaching out to the states that have indicated interest to host. And as Dudu has mentioned, this is supposed to be part of a plan that says that it will culminate in hosting the tournament and end up next year in the National Sports Festival. That's a thread. And every infrastructure that you create, which is a legacy project. I was listening to Menasera mention the legacy project as developmental, where you put practice pitches in schools because you want them to, immediately the tournament is over, those world-class practice pitches, which are FIFA standard, will now translate into better footballers who will use them continuously and hopefully will raise footballers from them. That's the plan. When countries do this, it's part of a developmental plan for the country. oh, it's our time to be able to build a train track. We are building extra trains going into those particular towns and villages, and we're going to do a transportation network that immediately the tournament is over, our people will benefit from the transportation network. South Africa had the GAU train, express train that brings you from the airport straight into town. China did a whole town, built a whole town. Australia, recently from the Commonwealth Games, they did their legacy projects that are part of the developmental projects for the country. And so it's nice that the Vice President is seeing this, but I think this needs to be championed from a Nigeria perspective. 2020 is going to make us 105 years old as a nation. Since we got amalgamated in 1914, we're going to be now going in. If that is what I miss here, I think this is becoming a football, sports, social service type of tournament. It would be great and nice if it is a Nigeria tournament. Looking at this, it would be lovely to see that trains connect us from Lagos to Benin to Asaba to Akwa Ibom. If the train lines can do that, then a lot of Nigerians would be able to move during the tournament. So our legacy projects are interesting enough for me. If that is already in the 900 pages that my big brother and the excellent team of people, Sheyi is also there, somebody I respect a lot. If this is part of that Nigeria gets something back that is tangible, that has infrastructural use for our people, not just the playing pitches that are in secondary schools, which is an amazing idea, by the way, but again, what are the larger impact on our social and economic development as a people? Those are the kinds of things I would love to hear them tell us. I'm really interested to know what the government and the people of Nigeria will benefit as a long-term return on our investment for doing this, if we eventually win.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. You touched on very significant issues, of course, along with the other guests. We know, in terms of infrastructural upgrade, for instance, rail lines are being constructed, but you are likely to get a rail connection from Benin to Asaba, or from Asaba to Uyo in the course of the next 1 year, where this tournament is expected to take place. But of course, those are very important points, as I said, that you have raised. Other issues are equally relevant. But I'm just wondering, Sheyi Akinwumi, Vice President of NFF, what competition is Nigeria up against in trying to host this tournament next year? In other words, where else are we looking up to and say, look, we have to better whatever those other competitors have, so that FIFA says at the end of the day, okay, Nigeria, take and host?
The first thing, the way we're looking at this is we're looking at Nigeria and giving out the Nigerian narrative. It's up to FIFA to look at the competition. For us, what we're looking at is do what we need to do. We've put up a big document. We know what the requirements are, and we want to reach these requirements and surpass them. Now, it doesn't, as we've seen with FIFA bids all around the world and over the years, what you think is best may not be what they consider best. We need to focus. We don't go to visit other sites in other countries anyway. We visit our sites. We focus on what the bid is required, what requires of us, and we challenge that bid and challenge that standard. And we want to surpass it in every way. I think when we spoke with the FIFA inspectors, they were surprised at our targets. That, we didn't just want to meet up the bid, but surpass them. And I think that is where we focus. We might get distracted if we're beginning to look over our shoulders and looking across borders, because there's no way in any event that we can. Nobody knows what Worldcup looks like from China, from India, whatever it is. What we have to look at is what we're doing here. And one of the things that Mike raised, it's pertinent, but we need to look at both the tangible and intangible benefits. We have a government who's responsible, and it was further evidenced by the willingness of the Vice President to receive us yesterday. And he did say and it's an opportunity to do many things or continue some of the things that they were already doing. For example, in line with security, because, of course, if people come to Nigeria, they need to be secure, they need to feel secure. We need to change the narrative about Nigerians that we have across the world. This is an opportunity to do that. I mean, just in how many days the FIFA inspectors came and said they couldn't believe that this is Nigeria they've been hearing about. I think they came with trepidation, but they went back, actually almost reluctantly, because they were enjoying themselves and happy with the people of Nigeria and what they've seen. So, in answer to your question, I think it's important for us to focus on the standards that we want to reach, and that's the way we can achieve whatever it is that we're trying to achieve with this bidding and hosting, hopefully, of this tournament.
Well, Shay, thank you indeed. We've heard earlier today that the other two countries, India and one other country, South Korea, have withdrawn. Therefore, it's as if Nigeria is just left alone in this. And of course, it should be seen as a success already recorded so far. But let me return to Minasara Ilu. Yes, the FIFA inspection, of course, from what you have told us this morning, is going to be positive, from all indications. But let me ask this. Are there other extracurricular areas that FIFA might be interested in? I know we're talking about sports and hosting of sports, but there are other areas that may have a link, with sports. One, security. Another is availability of certain facilities that may be required during the tournament, regular water supply, energy, and what have you. Bring us up to speed, with what may be considered as other areas of interest by FIFA.
Thank you very much. Sports events really are used by those who host them to develop facilities and capacities in other areas. I give you a few examples. The NTA, where I proudly served for several years, benefited immensely from the hosting of the 10th World Youth Championship in 1999, the All Africa Games in 2003, as well as the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, in updating their facilities and capacities. I give you another example, the Federal Road Safety Corps that I just watched on TV a few minutes before we started our segment of the program, had about 32 or 33 ambulances that were of basic life support capacity. But because of the hosting of the Under-17 World Cup in 2009, we upgraded each and every one of those ambulances to advanced cardiac life support ambulance. I mean, there are almost limitless direct and spin-off benefits that you get. None more important today than the narrative, international narrative on Nigeria, basically very, very negative. And we really require a platform that can tell the international community that there are good things in Nigeria. It is not just about kidnapping or insurgency or such other things that are negative. The FIFA team, before they came, they had this impression that it would perhaps be life-threatening to come and wander about in Nigerian cities and so on. And they asked so many questions, almost to the point of questioning the dignity and capacity of Nigeria to secure its citizens and installations. But when they came, they found a completely different Nigeria from what they knew before they came. And just perhaps I should mention that we also wanted to go to Kaduna, but there was an incident in Kaduna at the Id-El-Kabir finals last Sunday. And before we said anything, FIFA sent us pictures and reports that tear gas was used and so on and so on. And so they had considered Kaduna for this inspection in particular as being insecure and unsafe. And they would therefore want us to remove Kaduna from the list of centers to be inspected this time. And we of course, had no option but to oblige. And that was put off, but that Kaduna should be encouraged to keep developing their facilities until the next time that FIFA will visit. Now, As to the other requirements, now you are required to provide stadia facilities, and in the stadiums you are not only providing the playing surface, you are also providing floodlights, you are also providing medical installations, you are ensuring co-location of facilities by the different client groups, meaning that if you have the VIP section, you have to make your VIP parking consistent with the VIP gate and the VIP tribune and the VIP lounge. Similarly, the press facilities, the media gate has to lead to the media entrance. It also has to lead to the media tribune, and all the facilities required, including internet services, have to be provided. You have to provide a capable and efficient and well-serviced broadcast compound, which has at least 3 layers of power. The city supply, then the generator in the stadium, as well as inverters. The requirements are huge and enormous, but that is not all. You require hotels that have to be configured in certain manner for them to be sports savvy. For example, the rooms have to be configured in such a manner that you have twin beds, because players, whether they are professional or they are amateurs, they share rooms whenever they go to events like this one. Aside from hotels, the road network has to be good, power has to be guaranteed, water supply has to be guaranteed. All services that are associated to living well are integrated in the requirements for hosting a tournament.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Menasara Ilo, there for, again, the details that you have provided. Let's return to Godwin Dudu Orume in Benin. Dudu Orume, tell us something. It's a bit curious that the states that have been ticked off as potential host sites for the tournament, Lagos, Edo, Delta, and Akwa Ibom, we didn't hear of, shall we say, facilities federally controlled, for instance. National Stadium in Lagos, National Stadium in Abuja, which is now the MKO Abiola Stadium. What is in it for states that are throwing their hearts, as it were, into the ring? You've already indicated that for Edo, okay, you want to make it #1 sports destination. But other than that, what else? Can the state government on its own finance this?
State government can, with a mixture of mezzanine finance strategies, PPP arrangements, sponsorships, and of course, in association with the federal government too. There is a responsibility on the part of the federal government, because the hosting right belongs to Nigeria. And I'm sure that, the strategists, the Football Federation have worked all of that out, and they are on the same page with the federal government in terms of what to give and what kind of support to give, because guarantees have to be given by the federal government before FIFA gives a final nod. That said, for the states, it's, in my opinion, a reflection, or should I say, a manifestation of the thoughts of the various chief executives of these states, who have made sports their priorities as a means of kickstarting the economy of their states, ensuring friendship relationships, building bridges amongst its communities, and ensuring the sports continues to be the bastion for the development of youth and young adults who, in my opinion, amount to about 70 to 75% of the population of Nigeria today, especially in these states. To keep youths restive, keep them engaged, gainfully engaged, sports is it. And that's why many of these states who have put their hearts in it are states that have had tremendous impact in sports in Nigeria, the development of the athletes, and they drive towards making sports contribute towards the GDP of the states and in the country. So it's an investment which the governments of the 4 different states, in my opinion, have worked out ways of ensuring that these games deliver seamlessly, provides answers to many of the problems surrounding place, economy, development and training of the mind, and of course, unity, fostering unity amongst his people.
Okay, Dudu, thank you very much indeed. Now back to Abuja. Nahoro, you see, you have listened again to the comments by our guests. Now, these are directly involved sportsmen, you know, who have great experience over the years in this event, even beyond this event, so to speak. They have been in sports for a very long time. You know, Menesara, for instance. We've raised the issue of other areas apart from, you know, sports, one facilities, you know, and the regular supply of water and all, and other logistics that may be involved, especially transportation when the tournament commences.
Yes.
What are your comments?
Look, I will tell you one of the things that I see. The Nigerian visa to Nigeria is not an easy thing to deal with. It's quite pricey. It's about $150, $180 per visa. This is one way Nigeria could open itself for tourism, with the NTDC working with the LOC, working with the immigrations, working with the NFF to understand and say, people are going to fly into this tournament from 3 international airports: Enugu, Abuja, and Lagos. So why don't we begin to look at visa on arrival at standard, which is about $50, which is done in most countries at $50, so that we can use that to encourage tourism towards Nigeria. That's one key area. The NTDC should be able, and the NOA, which is the orientation agency, should begin, if I hear Nasara correctly, the projection. There should be ads running for Nigerians to begin to look at and look forward to this event. Ads should be running on most Nigerian and radio TV jingles, should tell us exactly what is going on. Because this is a sensitization point if we're using it as a branding for Nigeria. It has to be a government, central government controlled strategy to say, we are looking to bid for that. FIFA, if they could get pictures of what happened in the Id-El-Kabir, they can also get the jingles that we play to our people to encourage sponsors to look forward to that. So if we don't have a holistic, global Nigeria strategy to support the work that these gentlemen are doing in their various niches and in their various committees, then again, it's just going to be a football thing. And it will start and end as a football thing. This is supposed to engender that Nigerians in Kaduna will fly to Lagos to go and watch a match. How many planes do we have in the country? How many planes that are active from all the airlines do we have in the country to be able to go? Planes and flights now are 30,000 and 40,000 above. It's not affordable for a lot of people who would want to fly. Again, so these are all the areas I would think that we would want to focus on if the intent is to brand Nigeria at the end of the day. So we need to look at all of these so that Nigerians will be the ones benefiting from the return on investment.
Yeah, Mike, very important points again that you have raised with regard to leveraging on the opportunity to host the tournament next year, to have a pan-Nigerian disposition, as well as ensuring that it isn't just a football event, but that it's an event that helps to mobilize the rest of the other sectors of the economy. It's on that note, we'd like to thank all our guests who've been with us on the conversation this morning. Mike Nahoro here with us in the Abuja studios. It's always a delight having you, sports analyst.
It's a pleasure. Good morning, Nigeria.
From our Lagos Network studios, we were joined by Seyi Akinwumi, Vice President of the Nigerian Football Federation. Thank you for being with us. Good morning, Nigeria. And our own Menasara Ilo, of course, former and an alumnus of the NTA, who is FIFA consultant, as well as the chair of the bid committee for Nigeria to host the Under-20 Women's World Cup next year. Menasara Ilo, thanks a lot for being around. And for Benin, we were joined by the chairman of the Edo State Sports Commission, Godwin Dudu Oruma, himself, of course, a sports enthusiast and also a lawyer. Thank you for being with us on Good Morning Nigeria today. All right, so that does it for our second topic for discussion on the program. Let's go over to the Weather Center to check out what the prospects will be like.
Glad to have you join us on the weather forecast for Friday. I am Theodora Aiton. For Friday morning, residents of the northwestern part of the country especially places around Sokoto and Gusau, are expected to experience morning thunderstorms with chances of rain showers over the central cities, areas around Bauchi, Jos, Abuja, Minna, and Ilorin, leaving the rest of the country in cloudy conditions. And this cloud buildup is expected to give rise to weather activities later in the day, with possibilities of rain showers over the stretch of the south, while thunderstorms are expected over the central and the northern region. Up next is the temperature forecast. Thank you for watching.
Well, and that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We hope you had a great time watching the program as we have enjoyed presenting it to you. We ask you to return again on Monday when we bring you a fresh edition of Good Morning Nigeria. My name is Kirian Umar. Have a great weekend.
And Kingsley Osadolo, I join Kirian in thanking you for being with us. And of course, we hope you enjoy your weekend and Barka the Sallah, of course, in advance to our Muslim faithful. And indeed, all Nigerians who are joining them in the celebration.